Welcome to Lesson 35. We're almost finished with the course. We just need to look at a couple of parts of Latin grammar that are a bit more advanced, yet we need to acknowledge since they're present among our prayers. Our phrase is, Qui conceptus est de Spiritu Sancto, who was conceived by the Holy Ghost. We're going to look at participles first. Participles are adjectives that derive from verbs and participate in the properties of both. They're also known as verbal adjectives. Participles can be used in two ways, either as an adjective or when they're used with an auxiliary, which is a helping word, they can indicate a certain tense. In the prayers of the Rosary, we find present, past, and future participles. The present participle indicates an action taking place at the same time as the main verb's action. For example, Mary walked to the park while praying her rosary. The main verb is walked. The participle, praying, gives more information about the first. This form is very common in Bible narratives, and you would have heard this kind of thing. They found him sitting in the temple in the midst of the doctors, listening to them and asking them questions. In English, present participles end in ing, and they're often accompanied by the word while. In Latin, the present participle is always active in meaning and is known as the present active participle. To form the present participle, add ns to the present stem. And the participle needs to agree in gender, number, and case with the noun it modifies. So just a few examples, and you won't be doing a lot of work on this. You really just need to know that these are present. We won't be translating them, or not very much anyway. Our example infinitive is salvare, to save, and the nominative singular form and the plural forms are given here of the participles. Salvans is the singular, salvantes is the plural, both nominative, and they mean saving. From the second conjugation verb sedere, to sit, our singular nominative form is sedens and a plural is sedentes, sitting. For gemere, to grieve, our participle forms are gemens and gementes, grieving. And for an example of a fourth conjugation verb, venire, to come, our participles are veniens and venientes, coming. Future participles denote that something is about to happen, and they're expressed in English as she is on the point of leaving or they are about to eat. They're relatively rare in Latin, but the Creed contains one of these verbs. Inde venturus est judicare vivos et mortuos. He is about to come to judge the living and the dead. Future participles in Latin are declined like first and second declension adjectives. The active voice is formed by adding the endings urus, ura, or urum, to a verb's fourth part stem, that is, to the stem of the supine, or perfect passive participle. So, some examples. If you take the infinitive salvare, to save, again, our future participle is salvaturus, about to save, and that's the masculine form. Sedeo, to sit, our future participle is sesurus, about to sit. Gemere, to grieve, our future participle is gemiturus, about to grieve. And using the example venire, to come, our future participle is venturus, about to come. And that's the one found in our rosary. Now the perfect passive participle. All of the past participles in Latin are always passive in meaning. They denote an action which was completed before that of the main verb. The perfect passive participle is formed from the fourth part of the verb, the supine, again, and it's declined like first and second declension adjectives. You saw in Lesson 32 how the supine is used with a form of esse to create perfect passive verbs, but this participle can also be used as an adjective or to provide context for the main verb's action. So, some examples. Using our same infinitives, one for each conjugation. Salvare gives us salvatus as the perfect passive participle, again masculine form. Salvatus, having been saved. From sedere to sit, we get sedatus, having been sat. Gemere gives us gemitus, having been grieved, and venire, to come, gives us ventus, having been come. Now, our very last bit of new information. Deponents. Deponents are verbs for which there's no counterpart in English, as they're active in meaning, but passive in form. One example you may be familiar with, not from our prayers, but from the Mass, is confitio, which has the active meaning I confess, but has the form of a passive verb. Deponents found among our prayers include natus, having been born. That's the perfect passive participle of naskor nasci, to be born. Passus, having suffered, and that's the perfect passive participle of patio party, to suffer. Our last deponent is assequamer, that we may obtain, and that's the passive subjunctive of assequor, assequi, to gain. Now, vocabulary. Genitrix, genitricis, feminine, mother. Passio, passionis, feminine, passion. Descensus, descensus, masculine, descent. Patio, pati, to suffer. That's a deponent. Assequor, assequi, to gain, another deponent. Tuus, tua, tuum, thy. For homework, don't forget exercises in your text at the end of the lesson, supplementary exercises if you'd like a bit more work, and a drill schedule which will keep you on track for review. And that's it from me. Until next time, goodbye. God bless.